Well, hee-haw! It's the most important game in America. You know what that means? Come and listen to a story about a man named Tom. Had some good receivers, could throw some really bombs. At the end of the season, tried to go for 4. But they went to the playoffs and they lost to Baltimore.
Ravens, that is.
Ray Lewis.
Eddie Reed.
Go Ravens! Welcome to Super Bowl week of the I Formation. Bittersweet, isn't it, man? We've come all this way, enjoyed all those great football games this year, all culminating to one big game, which is happening this Sunday in the Big Easy in Louisiana.
And just a reminder to everybody out there, Brady lost.
Yeah. But who picked that? I don't know. Was it us? Yeah. Same thing with San Francisco. I think we were right on both of our picks the last time we met. And I'm pretty sure and confident, albeit against the grain in Las Vegas right now, I think we're going to be confident against this week. And our wonderful little anthem that we started the show with will sort of tipped our hand a little bit. Got to tell you, just want to refer back to, John, you know what? Pick champion extraordinaire. You beat me again this year. But I remember like our first shows this year. For the people that have been around right from day one, and you know who you are, we talked about some teams that could make noise in the playoffs. Now, we both picked Green Bay to win it all.
We did.
We did. And you know what? Injuries decimated that team this year. There were some changes, but I mean, that can happen to any team in the NFL. But I do remember us talking about the Baltimore Ravens. Yes. I remember us talking about, calling the Brady and the Patriots the best of the worst in the AFC East. And I really didn't hold out on them getting through. But I got to tell you, when I saw the Baltimore Ravens beat Peyton Manning at home, I knew then this team meant business. And Ray Lewis said it best, John. He said, I didn't come back off injury reserve for this team to lose. So you know what? The countdown and the bulletin board that's in New England gets going to go for a few more days with that little egg on the face. I'm sure you saw that graphic that we posted. So it's been quite a year. A lot of interesting moments, a lot of interesting stories and bylines, everything from, the referee strike, which we stayed out of to the very last minute, and I finally popped the gasket, to right up to Ray Rice and that unbelievable play he made at 4th and 29. So, I mean...
Play of the year, definitely.
I think so, too. I mean, that just epitomizes a team that is hungry and wants to win. I mean, at the time that they were still fighting for a playoff spot, nothing had been firm, and at 4th and 29 to have to go for it, to establish a drive, and then finally put the ball in the end zone. Incredible. I think it's underlined some of the things that this side of the Harbaugh tree has accomplished in Baltimore, and I think about Flacco coming of age this year. Ray Rice had a good year, but I mean, he was there when the chips are down. 4th and 29, man, I'm sorry. There's your superstar right there. He comes out and he plays the game. I can't remember a team with this kind of balance and this kind of drive and motivation in a lot of years. And I feel really good about going forward. This team doing really well against Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers.
In the meantime, statistically, the San Francisco 49ers have a much better defense. But I don't know about that in the last few games. Baltimore's really stepped up, and they've really shown that they are still one of the best defenses in the NFL. Now, San Francisco, this is going to be a great game. I think it'll be decided by one score, actually.
Yes, it'll be decided by the score that's higher. Just a little bit of Super Bowl trivia for you. On Super Bowls that are played on Sunday, the team with the most points usually comes out on top. Just wanted to throw that one out there for one of those great pieces of Super Bowl trivia today that we're going to give you free of charge.
To paraphrase a John Madden quote.
Yeah, that's right. That's only on Sunday, Super Bowls.
Yes.
Just making sure. There's only been 40 out of those right now. So, I noticed in one of the local music stores this week, they've got all of the Super Bowls on DVD in a series. So, for any guys out there in Cyberland that want to give a random act of kindness to one of us here, that our birthday's coming up, whatever the case may be. But I was pretty impressed by that. The only thing is you have to keep adding to it, but there's always Blu-ray. John, I understand you did a little bit of homework this week. We tried to go back and think about some of the keystone players, defensively and offensively, this year, and we're pretty consistent with what we came up with. And I'm going to say to you folks, this was a very difficult challenge, not only for the defensive side, but certainly for the offensive side. And I know John said to me a couple of times that when you think about all the categories and some of the great performances this year offensively, very, very difficult to narrow down to a top 10. So this list, we could easily say a top 1,000 this year. There were so many great playmakers, and when you started weighing them out, we talked about this week. There were people there not in that top 10 that people are going to scratch their heads, and they're probably going to put stuff on our site and they're going to say,
Good.
"What the heck are you talking about?" We're looking forward to that.
Yes.
But very, very.
And you'll probably be right.
Very specific reasons. We sort of talked about that, so we could banter that. Let's start with the defensive players that you sort of named in no particular order. I don't think.
No, not really a particular order, but I just wanted to make some mentions. I got 10 here that I want to mention. Cornerback Richard Sherman from Seattle. He had 8 picks this year, also 3 forced fumbles. He was responsible for 32 pass defenses. He was the shutdown corner, one of the best shutdown corners in the league. He talks a big game, he got a big mouth, but he can back it up. He's a great player, and he was a big difference maker in Seattle this year.
I know Graham is not liking this every moment of it as we're saying it, but I got to say, he looked like a punk at the beginning when he got in Brady's face, but let me tell you, he backed it up, didn't he? And he has played extremely well all year.
Also, Tim Jennings, Chicago Bears, he led the league in picks. He had 9 picks, also 30 pass defense. That was in just 14 games. He lost a couple of games to injury there, but certainly Jennings is one of the best play readers in the game, and he is one of the best corners in the game by far. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, linebacker Navarro Bowman, San Francisco 49ers. An imposing presence all year long for San Francisco, an elite linebacker, and had 149 tackles this year. I believe that may have been second in the league. But he is just all over the place. He tries to get in on almost every play. He's just been fantastic this year, and I had to mention him in the greatest defensive players of the year. Also, Cameron Wake, Miami Dolphins. One thing Miami did have this year was a great run defense. I'm not sure where it was ranked. It was around 5th or 6th in the league. And the big reason for this would be Cameron Wake and Dansby as well. But Wake, a great pass rusher as well. 15 sacks this year. Phenomenal. So he certainly deserves mention as well.
Covers a lot of ground in that secondary, no doubt.
Yeah, I know you like hearing that.
I do.
And also, cannot go without mentioning linebacker London Fletcher of the Washington Redskins. Definitely, arguably in the top 3 this year. I mean, the guy had 139 tackles for an inside linebacker. That's an awful lot. 16 pass defenses. He had 5 interceptions. I understand that he was also running the defense through the latter part of the year. He was actually calling the plays. So very knowledgeable and a fantastic player. London Fletcher is. Had to make mention of him as well.
I've been all over him all year. I know that and you know what? When he hits you, it hurts. Not that I know from personal experience, but you can tell. When he hurts my ears on the sidelines, he is like Ronnie Lott when it comes to that crushing kind of a blow. Like he's just incredible. I'm glad you got him in there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I have to make mention of Clay Matthews. He did miss some games to injury. He had 12 games played, but he managed to get 13 sacks in those 12 games. Probably next to Watt, the best pass rusher in the game, and an imposing presence on that Green Bay defense. And he deserves to be there as well, for sure. I also want to make mention of Von Miller on my Denver Broncos. Miller had 18 and a half sacks this year. That was good for third in the league. He also had 6 forced fumbles. And he was just phenomenal in that Denver defense. And he deserves mention as well. Also, outside linebacker Aldon Smith, San Francisco 49ers, arguably the best defensive player in the league this year. You may argue that J.J. Watt was a little bit better there, but Aldon Smith is the heart and soul of the San Francisco 49ers defense. He's calling the plays. He's fantastic, and he's going to be a huge presence in this game against Baltimore as well this coming Sunday. I guarantee it.
We'll see.
Yeah, and
little birdie told me otherwise. But
anyway,
we'll see.
in my mind, the best defensive player all around this year in the NFL is J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans. He led the NFL in sacks with 20 and a half. He also had 16 pass defenses, and that's an awful lot. He batted down 16 balls, I'd say, because he was everywhere. It was really hard to get past him. And Watt, I think, is the best defensive player in the game right now.
So he's throwing the ball through a skyscraper, really it is. He's got the hands up there, he gets to the ball, he intercepts or he knocks down balls. Yeah, he's very impressive.
And there's one other guy I wanted to make mention of. He's on the Carolina Panthers. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sure how to pronounce this. He is a rookie. His name is Luke Kuechly. He led the NFL in tackles with 164 out of 10 pass defenses. This guy is something to behold. He is going to be very big in the future. An elite defensive player all around.
Okay. The only other name that comes to my mind, and we talked about this today, I think about, even though he was injured part of the year this year, was Asante Samuel. You want to talk about people that can read defenses or read offenses and undercut routes, things like that. Perennial presence, and definitely stood in there for the Falcons this year and made that sort of overinflated season a little bit better for them. I mean, defensively he was a star. But that's great. Let's look at the offense. And again, remember, folks, long and hard thinking about this, but I'm pretty sure you're all going to disagree. It was an interesting list when we sort of sat down and started pairing it. John put it together and we thought about it, and there was only a couple of people that really, I thought, may or may not have gone on there, and we sort of disagreed a little bit, but go to it.
Well, in my mind, I know that Calvin Johnson did lead the NFL in receiving. He had 1,964 yards. He averaged 123 yards per game. He only had 5 touchdowns this year, so I'm not sure. I left him out of my top 10 for that reason, because he only had 5 touchdowns. I was more apt to put in at number 10 Brandon Marshall from the Chicago Bears. He had over 1,500 yards as well, but he had 11 touchdowns, which is phenomenal. And,
that wins games.
I really, the touchdowns are the real difference maker, of course, and for that reason I opted for Marshall, who I think has the best hands in the game right now. Also, Russell Wilson, rookie quarterback who came on this year and was fantastic. He had over 3,000 passing yards, just under 500 rushing to go with it. He had 30 touchdowns on the year, 26 passing, 4 rushing, and he was just a big difference maker in Seattle for sure. Fantastic quarterback with a bright future.
That 26 touchdown pass also puts him into the record book right next to someone like Peyton Manning.
Oh, is that right?
That's a rookie quarterback record. He tied the record for thrown touchdown passes in his rookie season at 26. Okay. And you know what? All class. This kid had a shot at throwing 27, but the game was on the line. He ran the ball in. So you know what? Kudos to you. And still gets his name in the book up with some pretty big company like what we got behind us.
Okay, another rookie that deserves mention this year in my top 10 is Alfred Morris, Washington Redskins. This guy is a powerful runner. 1,613 rushing yards this year and 13 touchdowns. And he was the biggest player on that Redskins team by far. And he got them, they won the division because of him.
I think he was a big part of it. There was another guy over there that had a little bit to do with it too.
We're going to get to him now in a minute.
That's right, but I call him a grease pig all year. Hard to get this guy in the first tackle. Hard to bring him down, gets those extra couple of yards.
Keeps the legs moving.
You know, it reminds me like Ahmad Bradshaw kind of a runner. Yeah. You know, that kind of a fella that's going to just keep moving you.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have Marshawn Lynch also in there. He had 1,590 rushing yards this year to go with 196 receiving, 12 touchdowns. And once again, another Seattle Seahawk. That was a huge help to Russell Wilson for sure. But I believe he was second in the NFL in rushing as well. So a fantastic year for Marshawn Lynch again. And definitely one of the best runners in the game and has been for a while.
It's interesting that you've got Marshawn Lynch and you've got Russell Wilson on that list, but neither one of the receivers that got all the touchdown passes from you haven't got Golden Tate, you haven't got Sidney Rice. But you're right, the people that stood out were the running game, establishing the running game with Lynch, who was just a machine this year, and of course Russell Wilson, who had the opportunity to run out of the pocket and score a touchdown and find open second and third looks.
Yeah.
So really good.
Yeah. Next, of course, RG3. How can you ignore RG3? 3,200 passing yards. The man rushed for 815 more yards, and he got, that was one game short. He played 15 games, and that's 4,015 all-purpose yards. He had 20 touchdown passes and 7 rushing touchdowns. And the most impressive stat is what Jeff has mentioned more than once this year: 5 interceptions.
And a rookie
5 interceptions.
20 and 5. That's nothing wrong. It's a good day at the office.
Yeah, fantastic player and with a very bright future as well. And next, of course, I hate to say this, but we couldn't have this list without having Tom Brady on it, because year after year, Brady puts up the numbers, and as much as we don't like him, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the game. We have to concede that.
I do like to say, since Spygate, though, 0 Super Bowl rings, 7 and 8 playoff records. Who knew?
We know now. Brady had 34 touchdowns this year and 8 picks. Good numbers. Over 4,800 yards.
No doubt. Lowest touchdown or lowest interception percentage in the entire league for quarterbacks, for qualifying
Once
quarterbacks.
again, Brady is a legend. There's no doubt about it. And enough of that. Next, we have Drew Brees. Cannot ignore Drew Brees. He led the NFL. 5,177 passing yards this year. The man had 43 passing touchdowns, will also lead the league. And once again, Drew Brees is definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Has been for a long time, will continue to be one of the best.
And a lot of adversity this year with that New Orleans team. And they'll be back big next year.
Yeah.
Would not be surprised to see them make a run next year. So I'm just saying that it's nice and early, but.
Yeah. And of course, I'm on to number 3 now. Peyton Manning, my buddy. 4,659 yards passing. He had 37 touchdown passes against 11 picks and a 105.8 passer rating on the season.
And
phenomenal.
A Buick endorsement. That's it, man. And Papa John's.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible. Grace under pressure. Wondering where he was going to go, and surprised. Well, not surprised. Once we saw how the team rallied around him, back next year, a team that couldn't win at all. I was surprised. I remember making comments early in the season. It seemed like he had his act together early, and then I said, well, maybe it's a little too early. 1 year is kind of, for him to put it all together and make a run would be ambitious. But you know what? They came very close. They came up against a great team who beat them at home. Not a lot could be done. I think they played as well as they could and had an admirable season.
I think they should have been there. They blew the coverage on the Hail Mary, but that happens.
That's right.
Big plays happen.
There's 60 minutes in a football game, my friend.
That's it. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. 4,200 passing yards, 39 touchdowns against 8 interceptions, and led the NFL with a 108 passer rating. And I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, but I think that's the second year in a row that he led the NFL
I think you're right, actually.
in passer rating. And I believe he may even hold the, at this point, the all-time record on passer rating through his career.
I believe he's close to that.
He's close,
Yeah,
but he's not there.
Can he save us any money on insurance?
No, Rodgers did that. Rodgers did all of this while being sacked 51 times. So he was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, and he still did all,
It's only because Roethlisberger was injured. Sorry.
But Rodgers is definitely an elite quarterback and was the best in the NFL this year. Couldn't get it done in the end, but that's all right. He'll be back next year.
He will.
And number 1, to no surprise of anybody, I'm sure, the top offensive player in the NFL this year, in our mind, I think we both agree on this, Adrian Peterson. The man had 2,097 rushing yards. That's 9 short of setting an NFL record. He also had 40 receptions for 217 yards. 12 touchdowns on the ground, another one in the air, and 27 times this year he rushed for over 20 yards on a play. 27 times.
That's very impressive.
I mean, he just went in and controlled.
Several of them were over 80.
No one could stop
Broke
this man.
tackles. The second half of the season, he had a run there where he had so many 100-yard rush games in a row, like he was on fire. That he came up against the Houston Texans. But I believe I said that. But what am I saying? And I pointed to Eric Dickerson. I said, Mr. Dickerson, with all due respect, don't worry about your record. Papa still got the record. Son can still break it. The one person I had this chat with you today. As much as I don't do the salsa and I don't dance very well, I think Victor Cruz may be able to sneak onto that list. As much as I'm not a big fan of Cruz, got to tell you, when the chips were down this year, when you were looking at NFL football highlights, the big play and the big catch, he was on the highlight
Exciting
reel.
player for sure.
How many times did this guy catch an 80-yard touchdown pass this year? It seemed like every second game, it seems like Manning was throwing it into the basket. And this guy was catching the poise of a veteran. You know, he's not been around that long, just a short period of time. He's only going to get better. I just hope that his head and his heart stay in the same place, because, you know, some of these guys tend to get kind of head cases. And I think, well, the salsa's a bit much, but you know what? When you can walk the line and do it, you know, you got to give the guy credit. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like Richard Sherman, we talked about that. Same idea.
There's a couple of players too that I really wanted on this list that I'm gonna mention anyway, and that would be his favorite, Martin. Doug Martin, 1,926 all-purpose yards this year,
Is that
and
all?
12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal, and it was really hard to leave him off the list. But
In another year, he's Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
He just, you know, it's incredible.
Also, Arian Foster led the league in touchdowns, 17 of them.
Not even on the list.
Over 1,600 yards,
Yeah.
so he belongs there as well. And I'm sure you guys can think of a lot of other players that weren't mentioned, and we look forward to seeing them mentioned on our page and agreeing with you.
Bring it on. We're all about the debate, and you know what? We only got one football game left this season, and you know, it's bittersweet because we're really into our football. We'll have to take a few months and think about how we're going to work the format. I think we're going to come back, though. I think we want to be back and do this again next year. And we want to say thank you to everybody who has supported us in this venture. This is what this is about. This was a thing that me and him have wanted to do for a long time, and we really had fun doing this for the people that stuck around and saw this every week and gave us their feedback. And I mean, there's people all over the place. We got Graham out in Clarenville. You know, we had fun at the semifinals. My buddy Errol, who's out in Owen Sound, Ontario, who chimes in and buys his Pro Line tickets. I hope you're still following us along. We did well last week, and you know, I'm going to get out that way for a game of football with you at some point.
And our good friend all the way up in the tip of the northern peninsula, from McCovic,
Well,
the Labrador.
The Labrador Peninsula, yeah.
Labrador Peninsula.
Dion,
Rideout.
yeah.
Watched us every week.
Yeah. And we'd like to be the first people to offer our condolences for your 49ers. Just wanted to point that out, right? Yeah, it's going to be just like on YouTube. You know, and the list goes on. I mean, there's a good many of you out there. Shane, you've been watching the show, and Albert, you've been watching the show. These are regulars that we hear from all the time, and you guys could be in that list too. Come out, leave your thoughts on our page. Remember, it's the I Formation, all one word, at Facebook. Give us a like. And, you know, we will be in a hiatus now after the Super Bowl. We're probably going to do another show next week to wrap everything up.
Sure.
But, you know what? We'll still be posting to the website, not as frequently. Your stuff is also welcome, and we look forward to your feedback. But come the sniff of NFL season next year, out around Labor Day, we're going to be moving the football pools again. We're going to be taking out the crock pot for making chili. We're going to be starting this all over again.
And we will be mentioning, in between all that time, we'll probably be mentioning about the up-and-coming college players that are going to make an impact in the NFL next year as well.
Yeah. I tell you one thing we won't be talking about, the Leafs. But you'll notice that we even moved the Canadiens jersey, folks. You know, we wanted to make this a little more football-y. I know it's one of the last weeks. If football-y is even a word, we'll say this. Okay, they can call it football in Europe, and it's a totally different thing. We really haven't discussed what were our thoughts about the Super Bowl now, so stick around, folks. In a moment, we'll give you our thoughts on what's going to happen this week.
Welcome back, and now we're going to talk about the biggest game of the year. Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers, defense at its best. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm loving it. I've been loving it all along, and I think the Ravens have what it takes to complete the upset and go all the way. And I think you're on the same page from here, John. Even though the odds are showing right now, I think San Francisco a 4-point favorite at the time we're going to film here, and also I think Proline's paying $3.25 on the Ravens. I'm gonna have a piece of that.
I'm all over that.
Yeah, me too. It's just this team who they said Denver will never beat the Ravens. As a matter of fact, you bet for Denver, didn't you? You know, we both picked them over the Patriots, but
Yes.
I picked them to beat Denver. We both picked them to beat the Patriots. And this is a team, a lot of the experts were saying, you know, that's great, all the Ray train and everything, but I don't think this is enough to beat these great football teams. Well, you know what? Great football teams, what do I always say? Find a way to win football games. And I think everything has peaked at the right time. I remember saying to you, when Baltimore was going to get in, I mean, you know, it looked like it would have had to been, you know, incredible setup of statistics and games falling a certain way for those last couple of weeks for Baltimore to not make the playoffs. I mean, they virtually were falling into the playoffs. And they'd lost 2 or 3 in a row. But they were also resting players. Eddie Reed was out for a short time. Terrell Suggs.
Of course, Ray Lewis.
And yeah, Ray Lewis came back, you know, with the tricep issue. And, you know, it's a matter of making sure the team was going to do what it had to do. It couldn't really go anywhere else in the standings. So the team sort of snuck in there under the radar, and everybody came together and played incredible football.
And there's a lot of hype about this San Francisco quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, and certainly he's done a fantastic job since he's came in for Alex Smith. Most of it is on the ground. He's a great runner, and but he's a rookie here now. And what the person that people are not talking about is a better quarterback on the other side. Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick, and he's going to prove it this week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pick Joe Flacco to be the Super Bowl MVP this week.
Wow. I would not be surprised on that big. I'm going out on a limb and I'm going to say that it's going to be Aquan Bolden, but that's just me. I think that...
Gotta throw someone.
That's right. Either way, I think this team has everything. And I remember saying this a couple of weeks ago about the complete team. You know, we were saying mid-season, the Bears had it all going on before the injuries, before everything fell apart on them. But this team now, that defense is smoking hot right now.
Both defenses.
Well, yeah, they are. But
San Francisco's looking a little bit shaky there. And they had the 4th-ranked pass defense this year, but the last few games, their pass defenses giving up a few big plays.
And I think, well, I mean, I look at what against the Patriots and against that Denver defense, what Flacco did. Blown coverage or not, still managed to get that person in behind, you know, a very, very respected corner in this league. And, you know, it's just, they're finding the holes. They've got very capable receivers in Torrey Smith and Bolden. I mean, these are people that can catch the ball and make a difference.
I look also for a big game. I mean, you're talking about Torrey Smith, you're talking about Bolden, and certainly fantastic players. What about Dennis Pitta, the tight end?
He's had a good year, hasn't he?
He has. And I think they're going to look to him a lot this week as well.
Well, short yardage, getting the ball done, and Ray Rice is going to have to step up too. I mean, these are guys that have to be there when it happens. You know, they have to show up. If the team that has all the players that are going to be in this game and are going to produce are going to win, and I really don't see the one thing that Baltimore has to avoid this week against Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers is playing man defense. They have to come. They have to come for him, and they have to make sure they take him down. I mean, I know he's a little, you know, a little cutesy in that pocket, and he can move, and he's a good quarterback from the scramble out of the broken play. But I'm telling you, you got some pretty heavy-duty rushers coming up that middle to hold him in place. I think that they're going to be able to contain Kaepernick, and I think he's going to make mistakes as a result. You said it. He's a rookie. They did the same thing to Brady. And I mean, let's face it, Brady's been around the block a few times and paved some of it. They were still managing to make him make mistakes.
And in saying that we think he's going to make mistakes doesn't necessarily mean that we're saying he's going to throw interceptions. He may not. I don't think there's going to be a lot of turnovers in this game. But he'll throw the ball away. He's going to be nervous.
As a matter of fact, I can't remember the last time that the San Francisco 49ers threw an interception in a Super Bowl. I'd like to go back and look at that stat. As a matter of fact, I don't know if they've ever thrown an interception in a Super Bowl game.
Is that right?
That's something that's sticking in the back of my mind. I know that, what have they got, 5 appearances? I think they've had some pretty good stats.
Yeah, 5 Super Bowls. I think they can match the Steelers.
Yeah, so because they've won every Super Bowl they've ever played in.
Yeah.
So, Baltimore, statistically, when we look at the numbers, they're up against a pretty powerful performer. But you know what? Those kinds of numbers are meant to be twisted anyway. Any given Sunday, any team can win. And I just think that if you look at the heart and the match of these two teams, it's kind of hard to overlook what the Baltimore Ravens have overcome this year to get where they are. And they're my pick, like the Giants this year, coming out of the stretch. They've had to win some huge games to get where they are.
Well, it's not only the emotion of Ray Lewis involved here either with his announced retirement, but they lost their owner at the beginning of the season. And they have worn his name on their jerseys all season long, and their uniform. That would be Art Modell.
That's right, Art Modell. And, we all remember the Badger Bob stuff with the Pittsburgh Penguins back, 20 years ago. Those kinds of things can rock a team. Chuck Pagano, look what happened with that team today, or this year, in Indianapolis. I mean, well, Andrew Luck had a lot to do with that too, but the reality is those kinds of things build, a true team. They rally around them, and we've seen some real adversity this year. We saw, what happened in Dallas. We certainly saw what happened in Kansas City this year, with tragedies and personnel with players. It's been a heck of a season.
It has.
There's been so many different things that we can look at and talk about, and someone's going to write a great book about it one of these days. But I think what we're going to find is that Ray Lewis is going to retire with another piece of hardware. I think, and maybe even a couple of pieces of hardware.
Well, to break it down and exactly what I think is going to happen in this game, I know a lot of the experts, and of course Vegas has got the game at an over-under of about 48 points, I believe. I really don't think that this is going to be a high-scoring game like we have seen in the last few games down the stretch. I think there's going to be a lower-scoring game. I think I'm going to predict that it goes under 40 points, both teams. And I think that you're going to see, you're going to see a lot of running, of course. You're going to see some great defensive plays. I think the difference makers here are going to be Flacco is going to hit Pitta quite a few times in this game, and I think they're going to be difference makers. Yeah, when he looks out and sees that his Bolden and Smith are covered, he's going to be checking off a lot. And heading over, he's thrown the ball over to Ray Rice, throwing it to Pitta. And I think Baltimore's going to win this game on a short passing game. Okay,
I'm going to take it a step further. Mm-hmm. You're saying they're not going to hit the over-under, or it's going to be an over-under 40? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it's going to be 40 points bang on. Like I say, Baltimore wins this game 23-17, and that Baltimore will succeed in the dying seconds of knocking that ball away in the end zone for the play that could win the game for the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, I got to tell you this, Jeff. You don't even know this right now, but I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I actually predicted this game to be 23-16.
So you were wrong and I was right. So
we're on the same page there for sure.
But it's going to be a score, and I think that'll be. But like I say, the Ravens will have to stop Kaepernick in those last seconds. They've had to do this thing before, and they've done it. It's going to be that close, folks. Be prepared. Get your chili. Get your chips. Make sure you got the beer in. Everybody have fun. Be safe and enjoy the Super Bowl. We're going to come back next week, and we're going to see how close we were, and we're going to wrap this season. Any thoughts closing up? Anything else you want to say?
The only thing I want to say is everybody have fun with the Super Bowl. Everybody eat lots, drink lots, and scream a lot. Hopefully the next day you won't even be able to speak. You'll be so hoarse. I know I will. And
Great.
don't drink and drive.
Abs-
Designated driver for your Super Bowl parties.
That's right. We had the same one. We had one when we went downtown and saw the semifinals. Shout out to Judy. Who
Thank
brought
you,
us
Judy.
all home.
Yes.
Thank you. Make sure, folks, that you are safe and enjoy the show. So you see where we're coming from. We'll see how close we were next week. Sorry. Thanks again for watching. So until next week for the wrap for the Super Bowl party, it's good night for me.
And it's good night for him. Thanks, everyone. Have fun.